BORTLE here, back from the LCS 11 man of the online format. We have here second place, the finalist himself, Ryan Yu. History making right here, guys. First time he's ever been on the channel. What's up, Ryan Yu? How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing really well this weekend. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I lost to a friend in the final, so I can't really ask for anything else.
The cool thing is, though, you were pretty much you were undefeated. That's a fact, all the way until the finals. How that just had to be amazing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say that my luck was really good this weekend. I didn't drop a game until top four, and then I won that one 2-1, and obviously I got 2 in the finals, but it happens.
That's true. So, since the ban list just hit, why'd you play Dinosaurs? Why'd you decide to play this deck, man?
So after the ban list, it was like pretty clear that the best decks are going to be Virtual, Dino, Dragon Link, and Invoked, some combination of that. The problem with all the trap and zoo outlet decks is that they can't really go second reliably into combo. And even if you're playing mirrors, then you don't have a way to get an edge over anyone else. Dragon Link is like the de facto strongest deck. It makes an absurd field and stuff.
Man, you were pretty spot on for those matchups. Dragon Link was everywhere, and there were huge like amounts of any type of dogma like fused deck. So yeah. So before we start the actual deck profile, would you like to do some shoutouts?
Yeah, so I want to shout out my friend who helped me make the deck, Arjun. He made top 16 with the exact same list. So it was a lot of fun talking to him about the deck the night before and theorizing everything. We also got a lot of help from our friends from WAF, Cormac Adams, Franco Brisano, Christian Thomas, and Hashim Mustafa. So definitely biggest shoutouts go to them.
Well, sweet. Without further ado, please take it away.
Yeah, so I played Go Second Sky Striker Dinosaur. We called it Sky Striker Dinosaur because you just play all the most broken spells in the game, like Fossil Dig Pill, Called By, Prosperity, Lost World, Terraforming, Dark Ruler, Mind, Sturm. All of those are arguably just the best spells in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, with a few exceptions. So, Blinding Second was to make your deck stronger against cards like Ash, Gamma, and Lancia, because Mystic Mine acts as an alternate win condition when you go second, and like as opposed to getting ashed when you go first and passing on an Overraptor. Lost World being live to attack also is a huge help, especially against the control decks, since Lost World turns off all the targeting effects like punishment, and it punishes them for not playing a fast deck basically. Uh, so in the main, the Dano ratios are pretty standard. 2 Conductor, 1 Pankratops, 1 Petite, 2 Baby, 3 OV, 2 Arco, 3 Misk. No Giant Rex. The only thing I think you could differ on is playing the Giant Rex and maybe playing 1 Arcusaur or 3 Babies. This is pretty much the bare minimum engine. I didn't play 2 Arco because drawing one of them and not being able to summon from your deck is a huge pain. It happened in the finals, which is why I couldn't use Misk, but
Uh,
it was bound to happen eventually because you need to side one out going second against combo. Since if you have like one dead card in your hand against combo, you're probably gonna lose. Uh,
is
but
there a
yeah,
reason why you didn't want to play Giant Rex?
yeah. So about Giant Rex, it's cool for making double rank 4 plays. Like there's some interesting stuff you can do with Tornado Dragon and Dweller, where you detach the Giant Rex and then use Pill or Tyranno to trigger it again and make a second rank 4. But we didn't really think that that came up enough. Like that's kind of a win bar situation. Against all the control decks and combo decks, there's just no need for Rex to be in your deck. You can outgrind or kill pretty much all of them by turn 2 anyway. So we just didn't want to have a card that could potentially be dead in the main deck. Yeah, so moving on to the spells. We played 3 Fossil Dig, 2 Pill, which is pretty standard. You can't activate Arco if you don't have a Pill in deck, so that's why there's 2. It also comes up in the grind game. Prosperity is not something that I think is standard yet, but I definitely should be. It's a lot better than Extravagance because when you're playing a deck like Dinosaur, you have consistency usage going first, and going second, you need to find a balance between drawing your non-engine cards and the engine cards. So you basically just get whatever you're missing. You can get a Lightning Storm, Darker Than Mine, Lost World, all of which come up in different scenarios, or you can just find an engine piece because you're pretty much guaranteed to hit at least something useful. And the having damage wasn't a concern because Tyranno can still just kill everything, even if you don't do the full 1k. And in the extra deck, as you can see, there's Pentastag and Dugaris. So there actually weren't many games where Prosperity stops you from killing them, because doing 16,000 damage is really easy with those in your extra deck. Yeah, Mystic Mine was just it acts as a consistency card because if you mine someone, you basically get infinite turns until you draw all the cards you need to kill them. It works against Shit All, works against Invoked, works in the Mirror, works against Dragon as long as you don't let them get to the second tidying. But that's something that we found we were able to do pretty consistently, since you only need a few cards to kill them safely under mine. Dark Ruler and Lightning Storm were both really good against everything. Dark Ruler is great for hitting things like Winda, Dragoon, the Dragon Link board, the Mirror Match, but really just anything. And we decided to min deck Lightning Storm because we didn't think that Dragon Link would be super dominant in terms of representation. Like, we expected a fair bit of Trap Shaddoll, Eldritch, Invoke Dogmatica, and that was definitely correct. So main decking Lightning Storm definitely stole a lot of game ones, because it's just such a blowout when it resolves. And the main deck called by was because we had the 40th card slot and nothing else is better. It's like not as good when you go second, because your deck plays through Ash easily anyway when you go second, but it's still a nice utility card for negating things like Seal, Shit All effects. Like you can call by a Windows to stop Schism from going through, or you can just call by the Apkalum. Like, there's a lot of neat tricks that called by can do, so there wasn't really a reason not to main it. And then for the other monster, the only hand trap was Gamma, which is because Gamma protects your miscellaneous heroes from things like Ash and other negates. So when you go first, it's really good to have in your deck, since sometimes you do have to choose first, and you want your deck to be as resilient as possible, since it does have an issue with playing through Interruption and Misc. And going second, it's the only card we can draw as a sixth and be like, okay, this is still insane. It helps break the field, etc. It always trades, basically. So that was the main deck. In the extra deck, there's one of everything, which was, I think, something really cool that we haven't gotten to see before, since Extravagance has always been played in Dino. But with Prosperity, the extra deck utility that you get is really, really interesting. I think I used at least every card in the extra deck at least once, and it was actually super important.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'll run through that really quickly. Link Creeper and Secure Gardener, obviously that's for your Archosaur, and then you need the Secure Gardener because sometimes you can't make a Link 2 to get the Link Creeper engrave, so that turns on your pill. It's also not bad against Pankits because it negates Lampsies, that came up, which it was cute. Pentastag is for clearing fields and killing them. Under Mystic Mine too, a lot of people think they're safe if they can just wall up on monsters in defense. So they get punished for that really badly. Attacking over a Lost Soul token for 7k is also pretty relevant. Lambda was definitely the best Link monster in my extra deck. It's a generic Link 2 that you can do after the turn 1 combo if you have Gamma in hand, which makes it so your Gamma's live. And in case anyone's unclear on that, you can make a Link 2, a rank 4, and then a Pill summon when you go first. So when you're trying to mind game like a combo deck, or you just don't feel like going second into them for whatever reason, this deck can still definitely go first and pop off, and that helped a lot. Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn, or just like all of the nightmares are just insane. Phoenix comes up for popping back row. Unicorn comes up for shuffling things that can't be popped, like Prank Kids cards. And it's also a Link 3 that makes your access code 53 when you summon it. And Cerberus comes up in the mirror a lot, because Cerberus adding Conductor in the late game is actually pretty huge. And it has some other random uses too. Like, I had Cerberus co-link to Phoenix against Prank Kid, and then he couldn't destroy either of them. So I got to keep my monsters, and it helped me kill him. Next is Access Code. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think it's probably the most cuttable card in the extra deck, but it does work because it just adds on an extra amount of damage to your field. So if you can make a 53 access code with Tyranno, then that's 88. It comes up on open boards sometimes. And you can make the field open by using access code's effect. So the best Xyz monster was definitely Dugarius. On the Friday, our friend suggested we play Dugarius as kind of a joke. Just because, oh, it's funny, you can summon Landscape from your graveyard, or, you can double Tyranno, that'll come up. And we all kind of laughed and put it in as a 15th slot, but it was insane. Like, I think me and June collectively summoned Dugarius for game like at least 6 to 7 times. I know that in one game he got to 33,000 damage against a Pranked player after he Prosperity, so that was really funny. But
My goodness, that's like double over still.
yeah, that's game through 2 Prosperities. But yeah, Dugarius was just amazing. The effect to summon from your graveyard actually does come up sometimes. Like there was a round where I think June summoned a monster from his grave to make an extra link material for Pentastag, and then did game that way. The draw effect never came up, but it could theoretically. And of course, the best effect is just to make Tyranno 7k because it lets you kill through anything, no matter what. So that was like a huge addition to the deck that made Prosperity a lot better. Dweller is pretty straightforward. It just negates grave effects, so it comes up with you break the dragon board sometimes. It's good against Eldritch decks in certain positions. Nothing much to say about that. The Gooska is deceivingly good against Invoke Shaddoll because they can't interact with it at all. And if they do, they have to go neg 3 into Unicorn, and you can kill them next turn. So going first and going second, it was just a card that let you swing the tempo of the game in your favor. So that was really good. Tornado is the best card against Zoo Outfield decks. Sometimes you make Dolka, but when they have a bunch of back row, or if you're playing against something like Shaddoll, your game plan is generally to play Dino like a control deck, which I think is a common misconception that like makes people think Dino loses to control decks. You can usually just play slowly against them, like hold the pills that you search, keep an OV or a Misk in hand as constant follow-up, and then pick away at their back row with Tornado and Phoenix. And then you can like normal OV, search Tyranno, and then push, and they're dead. So that's pretty useful. Dolka and Lagi are pretty straightforward too. I mean, Dolka negates 2 monster effects, and Lagi is good when you put them on a top deck position, because it can negate a summon, it can negate something like a Mystic Mine, yeah, any spell trap or a monster. And Omega was both for Gamma, but I never summoned for Gamma. I actually used the effect in Graveyard more, because if you're playing against an Invoke Dogmatica deck, which like we thought was definitely something that had to be prepared for, because that deck is very good into Dragon Link. I think it has a bit of a problem with Eldritch, because the Eldritch cards line up really well against the Dogmatica cards. But against our deck, if they're playing things like Prison, Ash, Judgment, Skullmeister, then it's actually a bit of an issue. So we wanted something to deal with Winda, and the best answer to that was Omega, because if they Maximus send Omega to your extra deck, you can use Omega to shuffle back their Shaddoll in their grave, because they usually only have Aptolon or Construct. And you might think, oh wow, that doesn't really matter, they changed his But when you do that, then you can Mystic Mine, Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm them after, and then your Dark Ruler actually hits the Winda instead of just hitting the Mechaba, and you lose to Winda. So that was huge. I definitely want to shout out Ivan and Dimitar, who were 2 friends of ours. They both played Invoke for the LCS. Dimitar got top 8. I think you did a profile with him. Yeah, I tested with Ivan a lot, and he taught me a lot of things about the matchup, and it definitely helped out. So, huge thanks to him.
Nice. And you did mention that this is a going second deck, so did anyone get punished by making you go first?
Oh, yeah, my top 16 match against Zodiac Eldritch was over in 5 minutes
Oh
because
man.
he made me go first game 1, and he's playing Zodiac Eldritch, so like if he was playing draw play, maybe it would have been a better idea. But the only hand trap he has in his main to interact with me is Ash, because otherwise, if I make Conductor Dolka, he can't really normal summon a Zoo into that. Like even if he has like Eldland in hand, I can just negate the lure twice and set the Zoo. So I think a bit of an ill-advised idea, but that is a very good matchup for Dino. So maybe he was correct in doing so. Game 1, he didn't draw the Ash, and then game 2, he made me go first again, and he had Ash and Gamma, but I had OV and Lost World, and OV Lost World plays around Ash Gamma, because you just can't get Gamma, and then OV Lost World plays around Ash, because you make Dolka before banishing Misk from Grave. So, yeah.
Oh, how unfortunate. Looking at the side deck, it's kind of standard, but I really do dig this Cosmic Cyclone at the end. How come you decided to play Cosmic Cyclone versus the other like back row destruction?
Yeah, Cosmic, in hindsight, actually could have been MST. Maybe it should have been MST. Because when you're going second into a board and they Lancia you, then the Cosmic's not live. So theoretically, you could get punished by playing Cosmic if they hold their Lancia instead of shotgunning and standby, and then you try to Cosmic, they chain Lancia, and then that's pretty bad. I think I'd actually consider MST going forward. And that was an idea that was brought up to us by Hashim, but we didn't think it was relevant enough for this because most people were shotgunning Lancia and standby phase against us. Since in this particular build of Dinosaur, our prosperity resolving basically just ends the game, since we can search a card from our deck to our hand. I didn't have any games where it was an issue, and there also weren't any games where the Cosmic was super good, because banishing things isn't super relevant. Like against Eldritch, all you need to be able to do is play. So cosmicking or MSTing a golden land isn't a huge, like it's not really something to worry over. Against the Shadal decks, it's a little better because if you can cosmic their El Shadals and their Schisms instead of MSTing it, then they don't get the value, and it's really easy to outgrind them. So yeah, cosmic's definitely good. We also wanted to side it for Virtual World since this deck's matchup is are like pretty good across the board. It beats pretty much every trap deck. It can go 50-50 with Dragon Link if you just draw the right cards. Like Dark Blue and Mine are such huge blowouts. But against Virtual, they have Chuche and Monster Negates, and they can search Ash for Xiaofeng. So that was definitely the worst matchup. And we didn't want to try going second into it because you have to draw Dark Lily, Lightning Storm, and a way to play an Ash whenever you do that, which is just not very realistic. And when you go first against Virtual, Cosmic actually becomes really good because it can stop a name from resolving by hitting Qinglong or Kowlin. Well, Qinglong or whatever Kowlin gets, which is usually the Chuche. And it can protect Dolka from getting Qinglonged, which was pretty big.
Oh man, thank you for the explanation over Cosmic Cyclone, and overall your side deck looks pretty nice, pretty straightforward, right?
I don't think there's anything special on the side. It's just three of each good hand trap. Ash was for the trap Shadal decks. You just want something to slow down the pace against them. It's also very good in the mirror. Nibiru and Droll are great against Dragon Link. They also have some application against like Tri Brigade. And then Lancia was for Invoke decks, the mirror match, Tri Brigade, Virtual World, etc. The deck is very streamlined because you typically can just side out two Lost Worlds and an Arcusaur, or you side out two Mystic Mines and an Arcusaur. Because you always want to have one Arco in your deck, but post side, sometimes you need to make the sacrifice to include more sided cards. And you usually pick one field spell that's better in a given matchup, and then keep that one in. But you keep one of the others, so terraforming still has more versatility. So by doing that, we basically just made the side deck adaptable for any matchup because we're always just taking out multiples of three. Like when you go first, you take out the mines, the rulers, the storms, and then you can put in whatever utility cards are good for that matchup. So overall, the deck was just made to have coverage for basically everything.
And again, thank you so much for being on the channel, man. History making deck profile right here, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And listeners, if you're not a part of BORTLE Nation, it's up for BORTLE. It's that easy and it's free. Oh God, yes. BORTLE out.